Yeah, welcome everybody. You can read the title of my presentation, Help, Good Employees Are Missing and Production Creation is Slow. Maybe first question, who is here because that's the only English session at the moment? Okay. Who is here because he's interested in the topic? Okay, fair enough, thanks. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I have the subtitle, Attractive and Successful with Adaptive Organizational Design. So it means I will not talk about PIM and data and things flowing and so on, but I will talk about how to set up a company, yeah? How you could adapt your team setups, your organization, and how this might influence and help you maybe to get better products, be faster to market. Hey, PIM also does this, but okay, now we take it from the organizational aspects and why I didn't want to talk about this. So that's me. Have fun to explore this. Yeah. So that is what we call a personal map. So by the way, that is something, if you're a manager or leader or you have teammates, try to draw this for your different team members and see how far you go. Maybe you can just see, okay, with whom you have a good relationship, with whom you might explore more, yeah, things to connect or whatever. Very briefly, I studied computer science at the Technical University of Dortmund. During this time, I founded my first company. There was the opportunity of an investor to share my shares. So from there, I started the journey, tipped into the field of product information management, a bit print, e-commerce. So I already, during my master thesis, I did something that has to do with CSS and print. Yeah, so a bit of this was also in there. Nevertheless, very soon I joined a PIM software vendor. I gained responsibility of 150 external developers, plus 30 internals, plus a services team of 60 people being in direct contact with the customer, yeah, plus sales with other wishes for the customer and so on. So in the end, I was in the middle of orchestrating all this, motivating people, developers. Some are working on this tool, which is of course more important than the other tool the others do, and so on. Yeah, it was how to motivate them, how to get these people aligned. So that is why I say I'm a lot of experience in leadership. And now since roughly 3 years, I stepped out from the PIM arena and stepped into a kind of self-employment and joined the Unfix company, and also Management 3.0 and acting as a leadership coach and organizational designer or organizational consultants, if you would like to see it like this. Okay, right. So help, good employees are missing. So that is, okay, we have the war of talents, yeah, and the question is, what can we do? And I have simple advice, and then I'm done, pay them more money. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's it. But maybe don't do it, yeah, don't try to trick them in with any whatever, fancy promises or whatever, but try to attract the people and try to be real and try to be open. I would like to show you some examples. It might work in your environment, it might not work, so I cannot promise, but maybe I would give you some ideas that you could consider and think about if this will work or not. Okay, and product creation is slow. By the way, small take on AI. In the German, we have the saying, okay, we have some teams producing nonsense. They are already doing the goldene Kräne. So I ask KI, please prepare a slide. So it creates a lot of goldene Kräne. Yeah. Okay. Nevertheless, so product creation is slow, and that is typically, hey, why is this so? So that is I'm very often asked. And there, I think, are ways where you can benefit if you come up and change your organizational design and become something we call adaptive organizational design. You're already here in adaptive. It means, yeah, you can adapt, you can change as needed your organization, your team setups. It's different from being a fixed hierarchy, fixed organization. So that is what we help. We help teams to unfix the organization and not be fixed. That's why the name is there. Okay, and let's have a look of what we call the three, or what are not we call, but there are typically 3 structures within an organization. Everybody knows the left side. That's the formal organization, your formal structure. So that is where all the boxes are, where you have the team leads and who is in which team and so on and so on. You see the different business units and so on and so on. Typically, that is drawn in some PowerPoint. It was presented sometimes in a town hall meeting, and now it's fire and forget. Yeah, maybe it's important because there's a job title, and I know I will get paid if I'm in this salary range for this job title, but the rest you're not interested in. Maybe in case you need to escalate, then it's nice to have some boss. Yeah? But to get real work done, you need to work where? Typically here. Hey, I know if I ask you, you can just get this thing done. Don't tell Horst, we'll just do it, yeah? So that's the way how to do it. And the other is, okay, let's try to find something in between, or between this, and that is try to create a value-creating structure. I already put some topics here and said, okay, one is what is the problem with formal structures? Very often you deal with a lot of bureaucracy. Yeah? You deal with protectionism. Yeah, that is my area of the company. You would like to get someone from my team? Oh, forget it. Yeah. By the way, how many you have got in your team? 12? Oh, I've got 14. Yeah? So all these is played here. So the typical functional silos. There was also the other talk from the digital solution house in the morning. They talk about the functional silos which are there. Yeah, typically implemented in this structure. Informal structure is great. You get things done. Wow. Yeah, but typically, you have slow decision making, or you have even the risk that you are overruled. You make a decision, then the boss hears about it, says, forget it. Yeah? Even if it's correct, but it was not my decision, forget it. Yeah? So, and all the things in between, all these political games, and so on and so on. So there's a risk to have this. And of course, and don't get me wrong, you need a formal structure. But typically, when we talk with clients, or I currently have a big German corporate. So the first thing is that, okay, we want to change the organization. What are the next job titles, the next roles, and so on? So they invested nearly 80% of their time working on the formal structure. I said, yeah, but what do you want to do? Yeah, we want to become a value-creating structure. I said, okay, why don't you work here? Invest your time here. Yeah? So that is something where I guess, and I hope where we can provide some solutions, some starting points for you to involve and to become such an organization. So how do we do this? We do this with what we call the Unfix patterns. And patterns you could imagine like small micro solutions. So there are small things that might work. So for example, how could I delegate work to make this happen? Or how could I describe what is needed for specific teams? So all these are micro solutions, and we assembled them at what we call our pattern library. Pattern equals micro solution. And based on this, you could start drawing an organizational design an organizational chart. You see this chart. I'm pretty sure who has ever seen such a chart representing an organization? So that is different. It's colorful, and managers hate it. We also have a grayscale version of it, if it helps you. Yeah? Nevertheless, so we try to build organizations around this. And now I would invite you to get a better understanding. What does it mean? How did we build this up? How does things fit together? Again, we talk about Unfix, and for Unfix, if you check our website, you will see this slogan, organization designed for continuous innovation and better human experience. It's like Lego, that's another thing, micro solutions. You can use the solutions you need and build something out of these solutions, so like with Lego. Yeah? Of course, some people are confused, they don't know how to build Legos, so we offer starter kits. There is already a prepared, predefined version of how to use these. But in general, you can use what you want. So it's not like they said we are not a framework and blame you, okay, you implemented it, but in Scrum Guide says this, or in the implementation you need to implement also this, otherwise it will fail or whatever. No, you can just use what you need, what you think is useful for you. And the others, okay, we aim for continuous innovation. So we believe that you will never have a fixed state, but your organization will change all the time. So what you need to be adaptive all the time, and you need to innovate yourself and be innovative for your customer. And that is what we believe you can implement within your organizational model. Better human experience, that's broader than just we are customer-centric, everything for the customer. Yeah? But hey, what about your employees? What about your business partners? What about yourself? So did you respect them too? And that is what we also want to implement into the model already, this way of thinking. So again, a great place to work might look like this. Inspiration for the model, very quickly. So Unfix, a newish model. It was first idea in the end of 22 by Jürgen Appello, that's a Dutch guy, already known for Management 3.0. Some people might know this or whatever. Strong influence with the, you can see it here, the books Designing Organization, Team Topologies. Somebody knows this? Great tool to describe or implement a software architecture and map this to teams. But sorry, they forgot about the human experience and they forgot about management. By the way, a company might need management, might be useful. Okay, reteaming, we will talk about it. There are some other great books from Jürgen and so on and so on. So last year we spent with introducing the pattern library, and for each of the patterns we have this wonderful cards. They are available physically. You can also download them for free from the website. And now we established this library, this fundament last year, and this year we start to pre-pack them this a bit, have prepaid bigger solutions ready for customers, and what we call the ignition workshops are now that we are working with clients, with larger clients, and really start applying this model. A little bit beside us, so we are a smaller team based in the Netherlands, Germany, and Argentina. We have a team of 50 international partners, already run a lot of workshops, large community, and so on and so on. Okay, but let's benefit from adaptional organizational design. One thing, just a remark for myself, the Haier story. Who knows Haier as a company? Chinese company, so producing fridge, washing machines, and so on and so on. So Haier, for example, was the first company who was able to mass produce mask during COVID and Corona. And why? Because they have an organizational structure that is really like a network. So many small teams, more than 4,000 teams, forming the whole organization, and each is more or less independent and can start and create the things they believe are useful. Then they find other companies and so on. So they in the end up with something which I've drawn on the right side is a kind of network company. That's a bit our North Star, and we try to see, okay, how can we get this kind of adaptability and flexibility into the customer organization. So the important things are these bars you see that are the yellow ones are the value stream crews. So our first thing whenever you set up a company or design is always asking, okay, why did you exist? What did you deliver? So what is the value do you deliver? And try to set up these teams in value streams. And you already see it's now not longer functional silos, but we really try to get the flow of a value stream implementing this. So then you typically see, okay, we have value streams could be, for example, we deliver this software product. We deliver the print commit. We are the service department. We deliver successful projects to our customer. But there are also other teams supporting you. You might have an IT infrastructure team internally, or you might have an HR department, or you might have a marketing department. So these are typically what we call the platform crews that support the other value streams. So then, typically, people might need support. Like, okay, trivial things like, hey, you might need an English teacher. This is a person who can support you. You might say, okay, we use Scrum, we want to have a Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master itself could be independent from the team, support several teams, or an agile coach or whatever. So these are the people that facilitate you, help you as the value stream to create your value. And then typical questions I got, Jens, for example, I was called from an insurance company that's anonymous enough. They asked me, Jens, we have here these teams that are so slow, so they are on 4 products and maybe they are work already together too long and we invest too much on this product, we need more here, and let's see, could we create a new team design. We now came up, we have seen the Unfix, and that are now our value streams, and is this correct? Don't know. It's your company. Why did you design this? So that is typically then my coaching, yeah, or my consultancy also. Okay, explain and let's understand why. And so these are the typical things. And then maybe it's not only asking, hey, is this correct? There's no correct, but is this attractive for employees? So maybe if you only see the boxes, but is this a place where could attract developers or employees to work there, to stay there with you? Yeah? And is this attractive for the customer? So, and one thing is answering the question, hey, is this now correct or not? So typically, people want to produce something, they want to make the customer happy and so on and so on. But they get really frustrated if they need to wait for something. For example, the typical bottleneck. Everybody needs to wait for this guy. Only this person can design or decide this. Then you might have a dependency, and you could consider, hey, can we solve this somehow? Can we rearrange the teams maybe? So can we, with changes in the adaptional setup, resolve some of the dependencies? So that is one point where we invite the people to reflect. And we also have, for example, a proposal. So we call this the dependency breakers. You see right now there are originally, I don't know how many, 20 or whatever, proposals what you can use and try. 80 might be crap, might not work in your situation. One might be, and one you say, yep, good idea. Let's try this. Yeah, so with this, we inspire with this micro patterns, with this micro solution, how you could deal with your dependencies. The other is typically consider the cognitive load. And that is something where in particular employees are really frustrated. They need to get this done and this done and this done. They need to go from this detail level in this project or this product to another in a total different problem environment or whatever. So in the end, their brain exploded and there's really too much cognitive load. Yeah? And typically, I don't know, okay. Typically, I invite then the clients to describe a job to be done statement for this team. So, okay, why does this crew exist or this team exists? And tell me why. And says, yeah, this team needs to deal with this and with this and with that and with that. Okay, with that. So, okay. Ooh. So, see yourself. Does it make sense? Does it really belong? Is it all trivial and just needs to be done? Or is it something really complex and might this be an impulse to think about to split the teams or to at least have a clear prioritization? Yeah? And that's the next, one of the next problems is, okay, unclear product vision, fuzzy processing, fuzzy prioritization processes. That's a typical thing. Teams might have a backlog or a roadmap or whatever, and then highest paying customer comes in, yeah? Boss comes in, and sorry, yeah, but this feature for the release, otherwise next 3 months not possible, yalla, yalla, yalla. So all these problems appear. I call them the loudest customer wins and the boss comes in phenomenon. And funny story, the insurance company, there was a team of 3 managers called me because they have overlaps in their teams and how they could really do it and so on. In the end, it was a 6-hour workshop. The result was I just put a mirror on the table and left the room because the problem was about all this fuzzy prioritization. And they had no clear vision for the products. And they always just shout in what needs to be done. And then they were yelling that the team did not act streamlined, that the team only act ad hoc. Yeah. So in this case, easy for me, but then it was not really the organizational design. They need to solve it somewhere else. But it's also something. So again, for this, I invite to think about the job to be done. We have this also covered in what we call the vision of experience. So again, some patterns, some cards that help you to reflect on some questions and to really figure out why are we here, why does this crew exist, what should this crew do. Another statement. And I learned this in the environment. As I said, I worked for a software house, so we always called ourselves, yes, we are a product company. I've seen many of our implementation partners that did projects and say, yeah, we also would like to do this and make this a kind of product. We ourselves tested it with strategic customers first. So we run a project, try to make this a product, yeah, and so on. So nowadays, many have understood, yeah, it's product first. Let's be a product company. We believe that this is not enough. We believe that you don't need to care about your product and your features, but you really need to care about your customer experience. Yeah. So one example, if you've got a banking app, yeah, and you have got a mobile app that's super. You can see everything in time, whatever, your bank balance, everything is there. And in parallel, they have a desktop app that's totally crappy. Say, I don't want to go to this bank because I don't want to do all this, everything on my mobile. I also would like to have the same experience on my desktop. So then the question is, who takes care for this? And yeah, we have something, or we invite you to establish something what we will call the experience crew that really deals with these customer expectations and experiences. And that is a little bit independent and overlapping to the value stream. So in the end, it does a kind of coordination work. And I've got here the example from Coolblue. Who knows Coolblue, the company? Stefan, of course, from the Netherlands. Yeah. So and now they are stepping also into the German market. Yeah. And when we examined this, it was really that they have a very, very strong team that could be modeled as an experience crew, and it was experience first, product next. So they really deal with this. So that is why we have this pink box in the model. So again, together, it's not product feature, our product feature does not equal customer experience. You really need to focus on this and deal with this. So then you already see that the organizational design, in the moment you establish this and makes this really clear and makes this part of your org chart, experience crew, that really is another thing. Instead of saying, yeah, we have 3 value streams, have 3 products, 3 product owners, and of course it's customer first. So this is the strongest statement, at least I believe, where you even implemented this into your org chart. Yeah? So then one more thing, it's a bit said, we have the capability crews or the experts. So in the ideal world, you said, yes, you have this value stream, and this value stream is a team. It's a long existing stable team. It's cross-functional. You have all the skills, all the people you need in this team, and could just deliver. Every day you release, or every 2 weeks, whatever you like. Typically, you don't have the situation, but you have experts. You might not have enough experts. Let's say you need to deal with security features. You don't have enough security experts. So where to place these colleagues? So for this, we have the red one, the capability crew. This capability crew then can go and support different crews as needed. So, and then even you might consider you don't have enough of these experts. Another thing, and that's the only AI thing I promise for my for my talk here. It's you can or we see more and more, of course, AI becoming a kind of team member. Yeah? So AI, for example, is doing testing, is doing software testing. So they become the tester of the team. AI might do, or for example, we also now have just created for ourselves some custom GPTs. Saying one is more the crazy marketing guy, so we have given him a persona. The other is a very boring business consultant, and we use this person to interact with and to challenge them and ask questions. And for me, it's, of course, I know it's different and so on, but as I said, we work in a remote setup. So I have video calls with my colleagues, but I also have the chat with my colleagues. So I ask a question, where's this or where's that? And if I ask this guy or if I ask the AI persona, it does not be different. And even now you need to consider, okay, where does it make sense to have the AI as experts into your teams? So that's just to think about here. One question then customers ask me, yes, wonderful, we understood this, we need the value streams, we need to be customer first, so we consider the facilitation crew, the pink one, we have platform crews supporting, but how many people should be on a team? Yeah? And I said, my answer is typically whatever you think fits your purpose what I can say, we now see the team size is shrinking. So in the past it was this 12 plus minus 2, 3. Now we would go, it's more 7 plus minus something. And then you might even consider that the AI also becomes team members, just to answer these questions. And now we have one very interesting, or we enter a very interesting area of organizational design. And that is, okay, what kind of teams do we need? And typically it's long-lasting and stable. That is what is, at least in Scrum Guide and other publications. So they always argue for these teams, because you know this, who knows Tuckman, the team building curve? It's like, okay, you start, teams needs to form, then they need, they have the storming phase, they need to know each other, then it's norming, then they enter a performing in the end, and you don't want to go through this all the time whenever you change the team. So that is said, okay, that's wasting of time, so that's why you would like to keep the team stable. They know each other, they know how to act, so that was a paradigm used long time. We believe there needs to be other options. And one option you see, for example, is a picture of the firefighting departments. So what will happen if a fire breaks out? The firefighters who are currently at the station just go to the truck and drove out. And that might be other people than yesterday or even in the evening. And they did not stop, say, hey guys, sorry, 15 minutes trust exercise. By the way, my name is Jens. No, they just go there. So why does it work? Why could it not work in our organization? So what is the holy ingredient that they have? And one thing they do is, and I will wrap this up in the end, is a little bit what Pipedrive does. Who knows the company Pipedrive? Okay, really experts. So Pipedrive, Estonian company, they are developing a cloud-based customer relationship management system. They are based in Estonia, Tallinn. And they have the problem that they already had this war of talents, not enough developers available 10 years earlier than we have. There are a lot of unicorns, like also Skype was implemented, where some of the big apps are implemented there. So they had this problem. And they interviewed their employees and developers and asked what is the problem? And they figure out that one problem was that the developers have really been frustrated that they would like to focus to get one thing done, but then the customer calls and they need to deal with a blocker or to fix this or whatever. So they came up with something they call the mission teams. And what they did, they organized the whole company in units of 20 to 30 people. They call them a cell. We will call them a base in Unfix later. And what they did, initially all people are on the launchpad. And then they said, okay, now we need to develop a new feature, as an example. We need to do this. It's clear what needs to be done. And then in their case, the PO says, okay, for this, I need whatever. I guess we need the following people. So they discussed it a bit. In the end, they stuff a small subset from these 30 people, and this people builds a mission team. You see it here, what does it mean? A mission team means they just launch and run the mission. And the mission was something typically between 1 week, 4 weeks, whatever. So that was their duration. And the agreement they made is, whenever someone is on a mission, he's not responsible for blockers, maintenance, customer requests, and so on. So they could really focus on the mission. They also make, when I remember correct, the agreement that when you're on a mission, you should not take vacations, otherwise and so on. But that's how they organized. And when you're on the launchpad, that means the other way around. You are responsible for maintenance, for blockers, for supports. You have the time to deal with technical debts. Might happen in your product, maybe. You have the time maybe to fix a little bit also documentation, but you also have the time and the freedom to do your own trainings. So that was their agreement. On top of this, they had one person, they call this the engineering manager, and this people then tries to organize it a bit that people are not always on a mission or always lingering around on the launchpad, but that there is a good mix. And because they are a group of 30 people, they did all this the trust exercise, they know each other, the team building and so on. And because of this, it's easier to form the different mission crews, because the setup will change with every mission. And this is one of the core things. So get this idea, like, okay, it's totally normal that today I work with you, tomorrow I work with you. Yeah? Okay, and you get used about this. And this is the starting point to get this way of thinking and to get this way of adaptability within your organization. Then it might even be easier later to say, okay, will not only happen within the small thing, but maybe we make the group bigger. We talk about 100 people or 200 people, and we are gaining the flexibility there as an organization. So that's the very primitive, basic idea so far. And because of this, the developers has been protected from switching always from one task to the other, so their cognitive load really was going down. Their employee satisfaction really goes up. So that's a score, when I remember correct, in a scale from 10, they have said around 6 and they go up to 8 something. Just as an impression. So we reflect this in Unfix. We call this a dynamic reteaming. We have the different teaming options. You said, for example, we could say you could have teams. You see it here, the two patterns. Teams are short-lived and fixed, so people don't leave. Or you have teams or crews that exist for a long time, but you might see the dotted lines, so they are flexible. Members might go in and out and so on. So that's also something that you can then picture within your organization. Martin Fowler might be known for this quote, "If it hurts, do it more often." He meant this for software releases. Yeah, you remember the time that you ship your CD-ROM twice a year. Yeah, nowadays you might be able, I hope so, to create your releases faster. Yeah? And the same will happen here, we believe, with these kind of reteaming. The first time it will hurt. You have a lot of discussions and so on, but you will get used to this. You will become better, and we hope one point in time it will be normal. Yeah? Okay, sorry. So. Why does this happen? I said again, so in the pipe drive example, it was this cell, this team, we call this a base in Unfix. The base is a place where you feel home, where you feel belongings, and so on. So just to introduce this term, this vocabulary here. Okay, sorry. Okay. One more switch. No, we need to have the other things. Bureaucracy, slow decision making, functional silos. Talked about this a bit. Protected areas, and how to deal with protected areas, political games. Sorry for this. Functional silos, we break this with the value streams. Bureaucracy, we hope also with the adaptability and so on, so that you can tackle this a bit. Now let's talk about maybe the protected areas. The German know it. Das ist mein Königreich, Fürstentümer. Nie gehört, keine politischen Spiele im Unternehmen, no political games in any company. Everybody is open, just the best for the company, whatever. So, and that is why we propose to split initially disciplinary and functional leadership. Because very often when you have the disciplinary leadership, that is where the protectionism starts, where the political game starts and so on. And it's even easier if you only have functional leaders, let's say within the operational area of the company, to change teams and so on and so on. So that is briefly, there is more to argue, but I cannot squeeze it all in here in this short overview. But just here as a side note, so going with the split, and you even see now that we now also introduced called the governance crew, and you might note here we have the partnership crew. Remember the experience crew? It was for the customers. You need to deal with your customers. We also believe that you should deal with your partners, your business partners, your freelancers, your external developers, your business partner company, and also treat them well. Also makes this visible, make people being responsible for this. Makes them saying, okay, it's the same equivalent like we deal with the customer, we also would like to deal with our business partners, our freelancers. We don't want to squeeze them, and whatever. So that is what we really believe. That is one of the aspects you remember at the beginning, human experience, not customer, human experience. That is one part where it is reflected. And then we have the governance crew. In the governance crew, we have all the people here dealing with all the necessary things to run the whole stuff. talk about this in a bit. Maybe just to remember, so we talked about the formal structures a bit with all the problems here, the informal structures, which typically are not really drawn, but with the unfixed patterns, and when you start drawing this value streams and talking about dependencies and so on, then typically you make the informal stuff visible. Also, who is talking with whom? Does it make sense? Then you could establish this and call this a forum, for example. Make this an official communication channel, for example, or an official meeting. And that are learnings our customers typically have when they start to develop and to design their organization. Okay, so then maybe one of the last big things where I'm time-wise. Okay. Managers must stop coordinating, start leading. So this is about micromanagement, yeah. People telling the people what to do. One of the typical reflex, your best developer becomes the team lead, yeah. So he's more telling the people how things work and so on. But they should really start leading and get loose. And ideally, the people in the governance crew should only set the constraints, how to do. And the team itself can figure out, can use their own way of working. And to do this, to be very clear, so we have the delegation level and the forum types as two tools, two micro solutions that support managers. One question is, who knows the delegation level? So then the delegation level, maybe, I once worked for a company and we had a carve out and we founded a new company. And during this time, we also get with us a lot of telephone contracts for all our mobile phones. And I know, okay, these contracts renew every 2 years, yeah. And I know that our sales team was yelling around that their mobile phones are crap, they need a new one, and so on. I said, okay, I find a colleague, I know he really is in smartphones, he likes all this stuff. I say, hey, Holger, do me a favor here, take care of this. Be careful, we have some contracts will renew soon, yeah. Talk to these people because they have problems with their phones. Ask what the problem is. It's only the contract, data volume, battery, whatever. Figure out what is the best thing. Please do it. Be aware, contracts might be renewed. So, okay, fine. He was happy, leaving my office. Then I went on vacation for 2 weeks. Came back from my vacation. Guess what has happened? Sorry? Did the team fall apart? The team did not fall apart, no. Everybody get phones? Might be a nice example. Who is for nothing has happened? Okay. Yeah. So I came back and I find a pile of paper on my desk. Contracts, ready. I only need to sign them. I get the first contract, okay, renewed last week. Renewed yesterday. Yeah. Oh, this one I can sign. It still will renew in 3 months from now. So in the end, it was a total mess. And I just called him and say, hey, I told you, take care. I said, yeah, I did. I said, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. So what was the problem? We had a different understanding how the task was delegated. And I can show you this with the 3 delegation level, or with our 7 delegation level. So what Holger did, he understood that this was a delegation level, delegation level 3. That means the delegation was with me as the manager, and he should prepare the proposal. So he had prepared all the contracts, so he consults me what's the best solution. But in the end, I had the final say. I need to sign the contracts. My understanding said, I don't care about these iPhones, yeah, or whatever. Please, do it, and I will never hear about it. Or maybe you can tell me later what your decision was. So my understanding was it was a delegation on level 6. So this is as an example of an easy tool, also from the Unfix pattern library, that, for example, we could just have a conversation and say, hey, Holger, I will be on vacation, please take care about the contracts. I say yes, and then he would say, level 3? I said, no, 6. 6? Okay, then we might have a short conversation again, but then it was crystal clear what will happen. And you can even use this then later and maybe quickly run through this. So it's the levels are tell. It's just, hey, you need to do it, shut up, forget it. I sell my solution, you need to do it, and it's because of. I try to convince you, to motivate you a bit. The other is, I said, hey, yeah, I need to deal with this. I need to renew all the contracts. Can you please help me? Give me your advice. Or you can do it the other way around and say the other or the team. Yeah, you can say, hey, team, it's up to you. Pick your no phones. By the way, I also did this last week for myself. Before you decide, ask me. I might have some valuable information. Or it's just like do it and inform me. Yeah? And of course, you have the four. That is, we all need to do this together. So these are very practical tools you can use within your teams. You can use with leadership. And this is typically when we say the governance crew needs to hand over things and to make it really clear what they hand over. And to avoid this frustration afterwards. Yeah? The delegation level is one piece that might help you to get this up and running and to get this crystal clear. So the other is then, for example, the forums. You could even say as a management, or the management can say, okay, there is something that needs to be decided. And you just said you invite a group of people saying, okay, please, here's your forum, please discuss this. And I delegate the following decisions to you. Maybe a boring one, pick the next, whatever, programming language, tech stack or whatever. So I don't care. I delegate this, and the delegation will be, for example, 6 or whatever. Yeah, so that is even where you could. And the forums are also something that are visible, or these are visible also within the org chart. So where you can even use the organizational design to make this clear and really empower people and motivate people also to be there and stay with you. And the other alternative is to give people time to learn for self-development and so on. And I don't know who knows the company Codecentric, software development company. Yeah. So for example, I'm now in closer contact with them, and they had every Friday, for example, they had a day off. So they didn't need to be with the customer, but they really had time for their own training, for personal development and so on. And they also formed groups around technologies, around topics or whatever. And this was also officially made visible within the company. And people can join if they have been interested and so on. Yeah? So that is something then you could also use as an employer to say, okay, if you join our team, look, that is what we're doing. That's one thing that might, I guess, attract people more than you say, yeah, you can go for the gym for half the price and here are bananas. Yeah? So that is what really. People often ask, where is this implemented? And we say, sorry, you can't implement Unfix because every company is different, every organization is different. We only can provide the tools, we can provide the Lego, we can show you the Lego bricks, you can show you how Lego works, and then you need to build your own company. So there is no, how is this implemented, where is this implemented? So even you don't need to implement everything. Yeah, not all there's a story behind this, I skip this, but you don't need to implement all the patterns we had. Nevertheless, we have customers who use this. We have a lot of case studies available on our website. You see the URL below. So you can read up about all these companies, what they did with the Unfix patterns, what their learnings are, and might be inspired by these different use cases. So long story short, help good employees are missing. Product creation is slow. I hope with getting faster, with adaptable teams, focusing on the right thing, going for a real customer and human experience, yeah, and being attractive even with the org setup and reflect this so that it's easy for you to implement the benefits. And you see I've listed them here. So we see the benefits for the individuals, less cognitive load so they can focus. They get faster decisions from the company, which is very motivational. You might have different learning options, career paths. The way of getting them, gives them autonomy, empower the teams. That is also implemented here. And for the manager, you see it's a little bit the same. So they can easily improve the teams. They have more delegation options, like with the delegation level, with the forums, and that provides them, frees them up so that they could really focus on leadership, strategic decision, but getting less hassle with all the operational work and the daily businesses. And by setting this up and being clear and transparent, you could also avoid the politics And of course, the company also benefits. You could read this there. Quickly adapt to market opportunities due to the flexibility you have within this setup and the design. You gain operational efficiency, and the rest you can read out. And last thing, we believe that with this you can attract new talents, and you can also attract your existing employees to stay with you. So you might have a bit advantage in the war of talents here. That's it. Maybe the last thing, how is this related to PIM? Master data management, print, and e-commerce. Small thing, just slide note. Every PIM project or master data project typically says, okay, let's start. Let's centralize the data. Let's just change the processes. Whenever you change a process, you touch the organization and the organizational design. That might be an idea also to have a look at the Unfix library and say, okay, are there some useful things in there? Maybe we could reflect with the customers or also give them some tools, some supports that might even help us to get a smoother project implementation here, or even a bigger thing that could even reflect on their org design together with setting up the new processes and new ways of working. So that would be our big dream to have this. But let's see what the steps will be. So let's skip this. If you like, contact me with the last URL, contact Jens. There's a free form, free access to my calendar, so you can just book in for a 50 minutes call for a virtual coffee. I like it if you link with me on LinkedIn, so the QR code goes to my LinkedIn profile. Now, thanks for listening, and I don't know how many seconds we have for questions. 9 seconds? Okay. Yeah.
We are pretty much out of time, so I would, if you have a question, feel free to find.
Yep. I hang around here for the next 3 days.
But anyway, thank you so much for attending, and thank you to our presenter.
Yep.
And enjoy the rest of your print day.